Sometimes people don't realize they are standing right in the center of their own destiny. But there are nights when even silence feels like a warning of a storm that is about to arrive. That night was exactly one of those nights. The walls of the mansion seemed calm from the outside, just as they always had. The trees in the garden moved gently with the wind, and the city was slowly falling asleep. Yet inside those walls, the weight of secrets hidden for years had become almost unbearable. The hearts inside the house were already in the middle of a storm. And no one realized yet that the decision to be made that day would not only change the lives of two people, but would also permanently alter the fate of two entire families. What do you think? Is destiny truly written by our choices, or do the mistakes of the past slowly push us toward an ending we cannot escape? Mercan stood in front of the mirror early that morning. The dark circles under her eyes revealed how difficult the night had been for her. But what truly exhausted her was not the lack of sleep. It was the pain in her heart. The truth she had discovered the night before kept replaying in her mind. Artesh's secret plan, the revenge he had been preparing for years, and the realization that she had unknowingly been placed in the center of that plan, all the pieces were beginning to connect. And yet, somewhere deep in her heart, another question refused to disappear. If everything had been part of a plan, then why had she seen something genuine in Artesh's eyes? Can a person lie and still truly love at the same time? What would you think if you were in her place? Mercan took a deep breath and picked up her phone. The message was still there on the screen. If you want to learn the truth, come to the old harbor today at 3. There was no name beneath the message. Just that single sentence. It could have been a trap. Or it could have been the key to uncovering secrets that had been buried for years. Her heart started beating faster. Maybe she should ignore it and leave everything behind. But there are questions in life that never allow the soul to rest until their answers are found. What would you do if you received a message like that? Would you chase the truth, or would you walk away to protect your heart? At the same time, in another part of the mansion, Artesh was sitting alone in his study. The desk in front of him was covered with old files, photographs, and documents he had been hiding for years. Each one represented a dark piece of the past. Revenge had been his only purpose for so long. He had built that plan patiently, step by step. But now, as he looked at those papers, he felt something he had never felt before, doubt. Because there was something inside that plan he had never expected. Mercan. Artesh leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. Maybe I went too far, he thought. But the memories of the past quickly returned. The betrayals he had suffered, the losses he had endured, and the anger that had grown inside him for years. Those memories always pulled him back to the same place, revenge. Yet now another question was rising in his mind. If he continued down this path and finally achieved his revenge, would he lose Mercan forever? Do you think someone can continue chasing revenge if it means losing the person they truly love? Just then there was a knock on the door. Seamal stepped inside. The serious expression on his face immediately caught Artesh's attention. We found something, Seamal said. Artesh straightened in his chair. What did you find? Seamal paused for a moment, as if weighing the importance of what he was about to say. A new name has appeared connected to what happened that night. The air in the room changed instantly. A truth that had been hidden for years was about to surface. But the real question was this. Would this truth confirm everything Artesh had believed for so long, or would it completely destroy those beliefs? Seamal continued slowly. Maybe the people we blamed weren't the only ones responsible. Artesh frowned. What do you mean? Seamal took a deep breath. What if someone has been manipulating everyone for years? Those words planted a dangerous doubt in Artesh's mind. If that was true, then the revenge plan he had built for years might have been aimed at the wrong target. So who was the real enemy? At the same time, outside the mansion, Neza was sitting in his car. As he watched the windows of the house, there was a calm but dangerous expression on his face. For him, this story had never been only about love. It was a battle for power. And in battles like this, the strongest weapon is human emotion. Neza smiled slightly. Mercan will never trust him again, he thought. And without trust, no relationship can survive. But was his plan really that simple? Or was Neza himself just another piece in a much larger game? As the hours passed, the afternoon slowly approached. Mercan drove toward the old harbor while her heart pounded in her chest. The sea wind was strong, and the harbor looked almost abandoned. When she stopped the car and stepped outside, she looked around carefully. Everything was silent, but the silence carried a strange tension. It felt as if invisible eyes were watching her. Do you think Mercan made the right decision? Can chasing the truth sometimes lead a person straight into danger? Just then, a voice spoke behind her. I knew you would come. Mercan turned quickly. Neza was standing a few meters away. His eyes carried the same cold calmness as always. Mercan spoke sharply. Did you send the message? Neza slightly tilted his head. Don't you want to know the truth? Mercan stepped closer. The truth you're talking about might just be another one of your games. Neza smiled faintly. Maybe. But sometimes the greatest game is the truth itself. He took an old photograph from his pocket and handed it to her. Mercan looked at the photo, and her breath stopped. It was a family picture taken many years ago. But one of the faces in that photograph shook her deeply. Because Artesh's father was standing there. Mercan whispered softly, how can this be possible? Neza answered calmly. Because this story is much older than you think. Mercan stared at him. What are you trying to say? Neza replied quietly. Artesh's family and your family are connected by the past. Mercan took a step back. Her heart was racing. If this was true, then this was not just a love story anymore. It meant she had been standing in the middle of a war between two families that had lasted for years. What do you think Mercan should do after learning something like this? Should she stand beside the man she loves, or defend her family? At that moment, Artesh's phone rang. It was Simul. Artesh, we can't find Mercan. Artesh jumped to his feet. What do you mean you can't find her? Simul answered quickly. Her car is gone. She's not in her room either. A terrible feeling filled Artesh's chest. He thought for a moment, and then one place immediately came to his mind. The old harbor. Because he knew Neza was capable of something like this. And if he was right, Mercan was already inside a very dangerous game. Artesh rushed to his car and sped toward the harbor. His hands tightened on the steering wheel as his heart pounded in his chest. This time, it wasn't about revenge. This time, it was about Mercan. And the thought of losing her was stronger than the anger he had carried for years.